You ever feel like you're screaming into a void, people? Like, nobody fucking hears you whatsoever. Like, the fucking truth doesn't matter anymore. Well, not fucking here. Not on Panzer Unleashed, motherfuckers. This is the line in the sand. And if you're tired of watching your fucking town rot from the inside out while everybody stays silent, this is your call to arms. What we're building is something more than a fucking podcast. It's a society, a fucking movement, a brotherhood and sisterhood of people who speak the motherfucking truth, no matter the consequences. We call it the Iron Voice Society. And if you ever wanted to stand the fuck up, speak out, or investigate what's going on in your town, and protect the future of your kids, this is where that begins. We're done playing fucking defense. We're documenting, exposing, and fighting the fuck back. And let me remind you people, you don't need a badge. You need guts. You need facts. You need balls. And a motherfucking voice that don't shake. You need to be iron. And once again, before we continue, we're going to go ahead and get into this week's Intel Briefing, brought to you by the Iron Voice Society. Welcome to the Intel Briefing 2025 update. And once again, we have cartel networks corrupting police in U.S. border states across Mexico and even creeping into the U.S. borderlands. Cartels are flipping law enforcement, breaking the thin line meant to protect the people. We have here in Guadalajara, Mexico, a federal sting revealed over 150 officers on the cartel payroll, providing intelligence, protection, and active participation for Jalisco, New Generation, and Santa Rosa de Lima cartels. Interesting. See, they're like fucking ticks. Dug in, people. We have here in Tijuana, corrupt officers attempted to steal cartel drugs, triggering a brutal reprisal. A cartel gunman executed officers that were implicated in the theft as well, so including at least 2 state detectives and several municipal type cops. The same network later bombarded the federal prosecutor's office with automatic weapons. And this isn't rogue cops. It's organized decay, my friends. The Guardians are becoming enforcers. We got cartel training camps and disappearances going on. It's, the violence is not contained at the border, people. The Jalisco, the New Generation cartels, Sinaloa, they've all been brutally expanding inward. And it's a mass extermination camp. Was uncovered outside Guadalajara. Says complete with ovens, bones, and hundreds of pairs of shoes. Kind of sounds familiar. Says used to torture and kill victims. Were lured by fake job ads. Holy shit. We got a mass grave with over 34 bodies in Zapopan. Says once served as a recruitment hub by the CJNG cartel. A reminder of how they mix kidnapping, indoctrination, torture, and even employment to build new terror networks. So be aware out there, people. Fucking head on a swivel, because these tactics breed obedience through fear. And it's an infrastructure of violence. We got another CJNG is adapting to modern times. Says they post job openings online, recruiting ex-military, cartel sympathizers, and unsuspecting youth, and then subject them to weapons training, torture, and forced loyalty. Fake security jobs morph into indoctrination camps, and that threat extends beyond Mexico into social media, into your feeds, and the algorithm becomes the enabler. So we have here the United States has become naming cartels. Sinaloa, CJNG, Gulf cartels as foreign terrorist organizations. You heard it from the president himself. Unlocking legal weapons to freeze assets, as well as prosecute global financial networks and justify those fucking cross-border investigations. You know what I'm saying? The high-profile arrest, including 29 top cartel figures, among the Rafael Caro Quintero of the Sinaloa cartel, showing a new level of determination, but money, corruption, and violence still flows like blood beneath the skin of society. Cartels are exporting violence and influencers far beyond the borders. Sinaloa activities have seeded bloodshed and briberies in the U.S. and Europe, as well as even in Asia, linking to corrupt officials, local gangs, and drug labs. We have here in Belize, cartel infiltration into police forces is openly acknowledged, yet only result in hush. Like I said, this is a globalization of organized violence, people. Funded by narco dollars, shielded by corrupt cops in this corrupt system, and protected by digital recruitment, and the battlefield is everywhere. So this is going to go ahead and conclude the briefing. And what does this mean for you people? The police aren't safe. They can't be counted on. These cartels operate with impunity, protected by bribes and threats. You know, the global narco network manipulates digital platforms and financial systems. Look at fucking Facebook. You know, the Jews and them tag teamed up and boom, they got it done. And while the government is talk tough, they always be talking. And the streets of power, from Mexico to fucking Phoenix, are sliding into shadow rule. And your awareness is your armor, people. Your skepticism is your reconnaissance. And your readiness, that is your recon. Let me explain what it means to fucking truly live as an iron voice. You don't just complain. You act. You gather the data, you research court records, and you identify what doesn't belong in your town. And you follow the trail. You fucking speak up at meetings. You film the sketchy deals, and you report it publicly. And that isn't gossip. This is war. And we're fucking taking our streets back. And we are talking a lot about this cartel infiltration, police departments compromised by those payoffs. And of course, you got to have the dirty lawyers turning the blind eye, and corrupt city councils funding shell nonprofits. And the iron voice is the neighborhood watchdog that don't fucking sleep. It's the investigator no one paid, but who everyone fears because he's got the truth in his fucking sights. Alright, let's get into the tactical breakdown. And this isn't your average fitness segment, people. This is about war readiness. This is about becoming a fucking living weapon. Turn for hand-to-hand brutality. You're tuned for armed confrontations, and you're tuned for strategic dominance. You don't get there by accident. You get there through daily discipline. You know, every fucking day is a training day, no exceptions. And before you lift a finger or touch steel, you train your mind. A weapon without mind is a paperweight. And you have to adapt the mindset of a predator. Be observant, calculating, and fucking lethal. And that means zero excuses, people. You hear that? No, I'm tired. I'm too tired. No, I'm sore. You know what? You fucking train because there's a war on your fucking doorstep, people. Spiritual, psychological, physical. And the only fucking way for you to win this is to become a force that no man can dismiss or destroy. You have to get into the habit of waking up early and starting your fucking day with intentional discipline. Do the cold showers, the fucking breathing drills. You know, you have to have the mental visualization of victory. and internal war games. You know, every decision in your fucking daily life is a micro battle. You either win it or you fucking don't. And hand-to-hand combat, your first and final line of defense. You know, martial arts isn't a hobby. You know, it's war prep. So you don't need to be a fucking black belt. You need to realize that you have to choose a style that trains violently, under pressure. Muay Thai, fucking brutal elbows. You got the knees, the clinch control. Definitely Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu as well. Ground survival, chokes, you know, positional dominance, people. Take time, get trained. Go get into boxing. Learn them fucking time strikes, the movements, the fucking defense. You know, another one, Krav Maga. Or combat sambo, you know, dirty, real fucking world tactics. The eye gouges, the groin strikes, and the fucking weapon disarms. You know, you have to train at least 4 to 6 days a week. Not once a week, not when you feel like it. You know, you have to pad up. Start sparring, get a fucking drill partner, and start doing weapon retention. You know, train like your life depends upon it, because one day it just fucking might. And if your gym doesn't pressure you or test you, fucking leave it. If your trainer has soft hands, a fucking rainbow flag on the wall, walk the fuck out. You want fighters, motherfucking killers, wolves who'll fucking sharpen you like a fucking blade. You know, another one, you know, weapon integration, the tools of the independent warrior, my friends. A true tactician isn't limited to just his fist. You carry tools because you understand escalation of force. Your daily training, it has to include weapons, manipulation, and conditioning. You know, fix blade knives. You know, practice those draw speeds. You know, you have to understand angles of attack and train reverse and forward gripping. You know, extend that baton, people. You have to practice targeting fucking joints on people, the limbs, collarbones. Use broken rhythm. Strike and disintegrate these motherfuckers. You know, and concealed carry firearms out there, if legally acceptable. You know, dry fire daily. You know, draw from your fucking hip when you're concealed. You know, practice retention in clinch range. You know, work reloads under stress, people. Lay on the fucking ground. Move around. You know, you have to heighten your training yourself. As well as improvised weapons, you know, belts, pins, flashlights, mugs, anything. Your brain is the fucking weapon. Everything else is just an extension, folks. And you have to work those flow drills. You know, knife to empty hand. You know, baton to firearm. Transition is key. You know, you're not training for a fucking match. You're training for chaos in a fucking parking lot midnight. You know, when no one's coming to save your fucking ass. So, you know, situational conditioning, you know, the warrior environment. You know, most men, they fucking train like drones. You know, in air conditioning rooms with fucking headphones on in the mirror with no resistance beyond gravity. You know, and that's weakness in conditioning. You know, you train in uncomfortable environments. Because here's how, you know, one thing I do, I practice and lift weights in full clothing, jackets, boots, and my gear. I sweat like a fucking madman. You know, train in the rain if you have to. Go dark. Go fucking train in the dark. Pitch black. You know, go into uneven terrain. Use your backyard, a fucking warehouse. Go do something in a dirt lot. You know, simulate the fatigue. Sprint your ass off. Then fight, people. You know, go run a fucking quarter mile, half mile, whatever you can do where you're fucking out your limit, and get down and start doing push-ups and start fighting. You know, then draw your weapon and see where the fuck you're at. You have to train when you're out of breath, people. When your hands are fucking shaking, the fucking gunshots are firing, you have to stay focused with laser precision. Focus your fucking body, your brain to operate under stress. That is the condition in which you'll be attacked, because that's how it is. So condition yourself accordingly, my friends. Do your tactical drills. You know, you should be doing them daily. And here's a little framework, man. You don't have no fucking gear. No excuse, man. You have to modify and adapt. Shadow fucking fight. With and without weapons. At least 5 minutes, 3 rounds. And push yourself. Do the fucking dry firing drills. If you're carrying 10 to 15 minutes a day, people. Practice makes fucking perfect. Do your weapon retention in your draw practice. 50 reps each. Knife slashing drills. Do the angles, 1 to 5. Do 100 total slashing motions. Hit that fucking heavy bag, the pad striking, at least 3 to 5 rounds. Go fucking till you can't go no more. Just like Mike Metzger, go until you're at your fucking peak. Do your ground movements, do your shrimps, your bridges, get-ups, 5 to 10 minute drills. Mobility and strength, push-ups, pull-ups, burpees, squats. Sandbag lift, people. Every man should also have a training dummy at home, no matter what. Use an old fucking heavy bag, stack pillows in a hoodie, what the fuck ever you can do. But practice ground control, weapon deployment, and simulated striking. Because strategic training, think like a predator, man. It's not just about your fucking muscles, it's about tactics. So study body language. You can spot someone about to attack. You can fucking smell them. Learn the indicators, my friends, and practice verbal de-escalation. Not because you're fucking soft, but because the first strike is yours. If they don't back the fuck down, handle business, TC fucking B. Walk through the mental scenarios daily. What if I'm attacked here? What weapon do I have? What are my exits? Train with others, people. You have to practice chaos. Get loud and make it fucking real. The unseen weapon. That daily fucking discipline. Embody it. The fight doesn't start in the fucking alley. It starts in your mind, in your kitchen, in your fucking calendar. Are you eating to fuel or to feel good? Are you fucking reading war theories or scrolling like a slave? Are you planning for fucking the week or reacting like prey? Because this is a full spectrum of warfare. If you let your belly grow, your mind's gonna rot. Stay away from the fucking cheeseburgers, that fucking processed garbage, and it's going to dull your edge. You are already defeated by that point. And these are the final orders, people. The standard is war. If you fucking listen to Panzer Unleashed, you don't get to be average. You don't fucking get to be soft. You don't get to be caught unready. You train every fucking day because you love your family, because you believe in higher values. Because, the wolves are at the door. You have to train so you can be the one to answer that knock with the fucking steel in your eyes and death in your hands. Once again, train, fight, repeat. No days off, no excuse. So let's go ahead and talk tactics, people. To speak the truth like steel, you need to be disciplined. No rant without receipts. No claims without data. You want to be respected. You want to be dangerous on the machine. And then you have to document everything. You start local, track what businesses are opening and closing too fast. Track who owns the properties that never have anybody inside it. But moves tons of fucking money. Track what judge keeps letting criminals off the fucking hook with the slaps on the wrist. And follow the money, people. Follow the fucking habits. Follow the fucking silence. And once you gather, you release. You make the fucking noise. You make liars sweat. And when people know someone is watching, they start slipping like fucking banana peels. And when they slip, that's what we're here to do. We catch them. And this is how you become an iron voice. With sharp eyes, a sharp tongue, and a spine that doesn't fucking break. And you think your words alone will stop the tide? They won't. Unless you back them up with strategy. Being iron means being prepared. Not just mentally, but tactically. You've trained yourself to think 2 steps ahead. You don't just show up in fucking hope. You plan your presence like a soldier entering enemy territory. And when it comes time to speak in town halls, online, or in person, your voice hits like the fucking hammer. Calm, cold, controlled, because iron doesn't scream. It fucking strikes. This is a war for your future, people, and your children's right to live free of fear. The lies and the poison running through our communities. Iron Voice isn't about being loud. It's about being unshakable. It's about being the one person in your neighborhood who won't stay quiet when something doesn't fucking add up. And if there's 10 of you, you change a town. 100, you break a country. 1,000, you terrify a state. You don't beg for justice. You force this into the light. And if you've been looking for a mission, people, if you've been searching for that next step in this fight for truth, this is it. Join the Iron Voice Society and speak loud and speak smart and speak with force. So, here's the truth, people. Your silence doesn't keep you safe. Know that. It only keeps you powerless. But your voice, when it's forged in conviction, backed by facts, and deployed with strategy, your voice can level giants, people. We don't need heroes. We need witnesses who speak like fucking warriors. We need locals who won't let another kid die from a fucking cartel poison, fentanyl, or get shot in some fucking corrupt gangland alley while the city officials are fucking taking paychecks from these cocksuckers. You know, you're not alone, people, and you're not helpless. But the iron voice in your town, you have to be it. Be the one they know is always watching, always reporting, and always refusing to be fucking intimidated. This is Panzer. This is iron. And this war isn't won by bullets, people. It's won by voices that never go quiet. Panzer out.
Ha ha ha!